Welcome to the Baraza. Here we demystify the miseducation of Africa and Africans by tracing our roots, values, and dissect our social issues. Let's talk.
Today, the government of Libya announced the death of Muammar Gaddafi. This marks the end of a long and painful chapter for the people of Libya. For 4 decades, the Gaddafi regime ruled the Libyan people with an iron fist. Basic human rights were denied. Innocent civilians were detained, beaten, and killed. And Libya's wealth was squandered. Today, we can definitively say that the Gaddafi regime has come to an end. The last major regime strongholds have fallen. The new government is consolidating the control over the country, and one of the world's longest-serving dictators is no more.
The Saharan sun beats down mercilessly on the outskirts of Sirte, Libya. It's October 20th, 2011, and the air thrums with the sound of gunfire and explosions. In the midst of this chaos, a man who once commanded the attention of the world now scrambles for his life. Muammar Gaddafi, the self-styled King of Kings of Africa, has been reduced to a fugitive in his own land. To understand this moment, this fall from grace, we must rewind the clock to September 1st, 1969. On that day, a 27-year-old Gaddafi led a bloodless coup against King Idris, setting the stage for a 42-year rule that would reshape Libya and challenge the global order. Beneath the scorching Libyan sands lies the true source of Gaddafi's power and his eventual downfall: oil. Sweet, light crude oil, some of the highest quality in the world. Libya sits atop 48 billion barrels of proven reserves, the largest in Africa. In the early years of his rule, Gaddafi nationalized the oil industry, kicking out Western companies like BP and ExxonMobil. He used the wealth to transform Libya from one of the world's poorest nations into a country with the highest human development index in Africa. But Gaddafi's ambitions extended far beyond Libya's borders. In 1986, he established the Great Man-Made River, a vast network of pipes and aqueducts that tapped into ancient underwater aquifers, turning the desert green. This project, entirely self-funded, threatened Western water technology companies and showcased Libya's potential for self-sufficiency. Perhaps even more threatening to Western interests was Gaddafi's Pan-African vision. In 1999, he proposed the creation of a United States of Africa with a single currency, military, and passport for all African citizens. This wasn't just rhetoric. Gaddafi poured billions into infrastructure projects across the continent, reducing African dependence on Western aid. The pinnacle of this vision was Gaddafi's plan for a new Pan-African currency, the gold dinar. Libya had accumulated an estimated 143 tons of gold reserves, enough to back a currency that could challenge the petrodollar system that underpinned American financial dominance. For Western financial interests, this was a nightmare scenario. Gaddafi's Libya also became a thorn in the side of Western intelligence agencies. In the 1970s and 80s, he supported various revolutionary and anti-colonial movements worldwide, from the IRA in Northern Ireland to the Black Panthers in the United States. While he officially renounced terrorism in 2003, Western powers never fully trusted him. The breaking point came in 2011, as the Arab Spring swept across North Africa. Protests in Libya quickly escalated into armed rebellion, and Western powers saw their opportunity. Take a moment to like and subscribe, as we journey across the continent on a quest to not only change Africa's narrative, but also educate and entertain. And now, we humbly ask for your support in the work that we do. Whether it's creating content that educates, entertains, or challenges the norm, we can't do it without you. Your generosity fuels our mission to uncover truths, tell stories, and inspire change. On March 19, 2011, a coalition led by NATO began a military intervention, ostensibly to protect civilians under UN Security Council Resolution 1973. As NATO bombs fall on Tripoli, destroying not just military targets but also civilian infrastructure, including parts of the Great Man-Made River, Gaddafi's regime begins to crumble. The man who once held court in a Bedouin tent on the grounds of elegant European palaces, now finds himself on the run. Which brings us back to that fateful day in Sirte. Gaddafi's convoy, attempting to break out of the city, is struck by a French airstrike. In the smoke and confusion, the once mighty leader crawls into a drainage pipe, a final humiliating shelter for the man who once slept in palaces. The rebels find him, dragging him out into the harsh light of day. Blood streams down his face, mingling with the dust of his broken nation. Cell phone footage captures his last moments, confused, defiant, then silent as the mob descends upon him. A gun cracks, and the lion of the desert falls silent forever. In the years that follow, Libya descends into a nightmarish circus of warring factions and foreign interference. The promise of democracy proves to be a cruel mirage. Western oil companies, once ejected by Gaddafi, return to claim their prize. In 2012, a new government auctions off drilling rights to BP, Total, and ConocoPhillips. The National Oil Corporation, once the pride of Libya's resource nationalism, is carved up to appease various factions. The gold dinar dream dies with Gaddafi, ensuring the continued supremacy of Western currencies in Africa. Libya's gold reserves mysteriously disappear in the chaos, with some reports suggesting they were appropriated by Western-backed rebels and spirited out of the country. And what of the Libyan people? The country that once boasted the highest standard of living in Africa now lies in ruins. The free education and healthcare systems Gaddafi built collapse. The great man-made river, bombed by NATO, falls into disrepair. Slave markets emerge in a nation that once offered hope and employment to migrants from across Africa. As the dust settles over Gaddafi's unmarked grave, one question echoes across the desert. Was this about freedom for the Libyan people? Or was it about maintaining control over one of the world's most strategic oil reserves and preventing the rise of an independent African economic powerhouse? The truth, like the shifting sands of the Sahara, may forever remain elusive. But as Libya's oil continues to flow westward while its people suffer, we're left to wonder. In the grand chessboard of global power politics, was Gaddafi's fall just another move in the endless game of resource control? Thank you for watching. Join us next week for another demystifying journey.